Episode 4, The Shared Fantasy Explained title on screen, the December series day 4. The Shared Fantasy explained it felt like magic, like destiny, like something bigger than both of you was pulling you together. They said things like, I have never felt this way before. You are different from everyone else. I have been waiting my whole life for someone like you. And you believed them, because it felt real. The connection felt deep, the chemistry felt electric, the future felt certain. But here's what you did not know at the time. You were not falling in love. You were being enrolled into a shared fantasy. In psychology, the shared fantasy is a term used to describe the false reality a narcissist creates with their target. It is not a relationship. It is a role play. It is a script where you play the part they need you to play, and they play the part that keeps you hooked. The shared fantasy has 3 stages. Stage 1 is idealization. This is where they study you. They learn what you want, what you have been missing, what you have been praying for, and then they become that. If you want someone spiritual, they quote scripture. If you want someone ambitious, they talk about their big plans. If you want someone gentle, they cry and show you their wounds. They mirror you. They reflect back the exact version of love you have been starving for. And it works, because you are not being manipulated by a stranger. You are being manipulated by someone who feels like your soulmate. Stage 2 is devaluation. This is where the mask starts to slip. The person who used to text you all day suddenly goes silent. The person who called you their everything suddenly criticizes everything you do. The person who made you feel seen suddenly makes you feel invisible. But here is the trap. They do not devalue you all at once. They do it slowly, in waves. One day, they are cold. The next day, they are sweet again. One week, they ignore you. The next week, they love bomb you back into the fantasy. This keeps you confused. This keeps you trying. This keeps you believing that if you can just get back to how things were in the beginning, everything will be okay. But the beginning was never real. The beginning was the bait. Stage 3 is discard. This is where they either leave you, replace you, or keep you around as a backup option. But even the discard is part of the fantasy, because they do not discard you cleanly. They discard you in a way that makes you chase them. They discard you in a way that makes you feel like you are the one who messed up. They discard you in a way that leaves the door cracked open, just enough to keep you hoping. The shared fantasy is not about love. It is about control. It is about creating a version of reality where you exist to serve their needs, and they never have to be accountable for how they treat you. Spiritually, this pattern is ancient. In 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14, Paul warns, Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. The shared fantasy does not show up looking evil. It shows up looking like everything you have ever wanted. It shows up as the answer to your prayers. It shows up as the person who finally understands you. It shows up as the relationship that feels divinely orchestrated. And that is what makes it so dangerous. Because when something feels spiritual, you stop questioning it. When something feels destined, you ignore the red flags. When something feels like a gift from God, you endure things you would never tolerate otherwise. But here's the truth. God does not send people into your life to diminish you. God does not send people into your life to confuse you. God does not send people into your life to control you. If the relationship requires you to shrink, to silence yourself, to lose pieces of who you are, it is not divine. It is deception. The shared fantasy works because it gives you just enough truth to make the lies believable. They do love you, but only as long as you stay in your role. They do need you, but only as a source of supply, not as a whole person. They do see you, but only the version of you that serves their image. The moment you step outside the script, the moment you have needs, boundaries, or opinions that do not align with theirs, the fantasy shatters, and they will blame you for breaking it. If you are realizing right now that you have been living inside someone else's script, if you are realizing that the person you fell in love with was a character, not a real human being, if you are realizing that you have been performing, not loving, you are not stupid, you are not weak, you are not broken, you were targeted. Narcissists do not choose random people. They choose people with empathy. They choose people with loyalty. They choose people who believe in second chances, who see the good in others, who want to help. Your kindness was not the problem. Their exploitation of it was. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23 says, "Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life." The shared fantasy only works if you keep giving your heart to someone who is not protecting it. So today, on day 4, I want you to ask yourself one question. Am I in a relationship, or am I in a fantasy? If you feel like you are constantly trying to get back to the beginning, if you feel like you are walking on eggshells to keep the peace, if you feel like you are the only one fighting for this connection, you are in a fantasy, and the only way out is to stop playing your part. This is day 4 of the December series. 31 days to break the shared fantasy. You were never meant to live in someone else's illusion. You were meant to live in truth. Tomorrow, we are going to break down how the fantasy is built. We are going to talk about love bombing, the golden smoke and fire show that makes the wizard look like a god. Because once you see how the trick is done, you will never fall for it again.